Bernard Tobin here at the Canadian Weed Science Society annual meeting, catching up with Tom Wolf, the nozzle guy. How's it going?
It's going good, eh? How about you?
Take off, eh? The inside joke, we've just finished the latest spray mitts, and it's been pretty exciting. Lots of feedback.
Lots of great feedback. People are watching it. It's fun.
People talking about it here at the society meeting today. You are also talking about herbicide resistance management, especially when it comes to application tips, how we can apply our sprays, our herbicides more effectively to manage herbicide resistance. I guess maybe start it off right there, Tom. Are we doing a good job?
We're not doing a very good job. I mean, first of all, the best way to stop the development of herbicide resistance is to spray less because it's selection pressure. So we need to implement other management tools to remove that pressure. But there is a phenomenon in herbicide resistance that's called polygenic resistance. And what that means is that some plants in the population have a natural, innate ability to withstand slightly more herbicide. And so if we apply a less than full dose to those plants, they might just survive. And what then happens is they might find another survivor and share pollen with them if they're outcrossing, and their progeny, their offspring, then becomes slightly more resistant than either parent. You do that a few generations, some scientific papers have suggested only maybe 3 or 4 generations of that, and you may have threefold herbicide resistance, threefold rate herbicide resistance. And that is a problem if we apply what we call sublethal doses.
Now, a couple of things that really caught people's attention today. What's going to be next? How we can use technology to do a better job. Something you talked about today, optical spot spraying. Tell us about it. When's it coming? How does it work?
Optical spot spraying is here. Now it's all actually been here for maybe 20 years already. It just never caught on. So the Weed Seeker was really the first. And the idea is that on a brown background like fallow soil, pre-seed or post-harvest, you can detect weeds even if they're quite small, maybe dime or nickel-sized weeds, and then activate a single nozzle that just sprays that weed and then turn the nozzle back off again. A new system that has kind of leapfrogged the Weed Seeker is something called Weed It. It's made in Holland and it's very popular in Australia, in South America, and in some parts of Eastern Europe. And it is capable of driving up to 15 miles per hour and triggering a nozzle that only sprays an 8-inch wide band, so quite narrow, for maybe a foot or two. And you can actually determine that length of time as well, and just sprays the weed. So the sprayer basically goes across the field just spraying individual pulses, and the savings are tremendous.
You mentioned up to 75%.
Yeah, some of the users, there's currently 5 units in Canada, there's about 30 in the US, and there's hundreds actually in Australia. And the general consensus is that on an average field you might be saving about 75% of your dose. Now the way I'd like to phrase that is that, there's obviously the temptation to pocket that saving. And that is of course payback, but probably a wise investment is to use that saving to apply a better tank mix, because it is in the fallow situations where we're getting our resistance issues, kochia for example. And we would like to apply what we call multiple effective modes of action.
More action in the tank.
So let's say that there's a field with glyphosate-resistant kochia. And we obviously glyphosate won't do it, but we need 2 additional modes of action, right? Yeah. So we actually have a 3-way tank. That can get expensive, and people aren't doing it possibly for that reason. Yeah. Optical spot spraying makes it affordable.
Awesome. And you can offset the onset of herbicide resistance, do a better job managing it, right?
That's correct, yeah. It's a good choice of words, Bern, because what we're really doing is it's not a resistance fighter. It's a delay mechanism. Inevitably, we have to recognize we're still applying that selection pressure. We're just trying to get some extra life out of our herbicides if possible.
Last thing you talked about, artificial intelligence. Doing some incredible sort of photographing of fields and providing some tremendous information.
Yeah, there's a company called Greeneye. They are an Israeli company with a Canadian subsidiary. They're collaborating in southwestern Ontario right now with some clients, and here's what they can do. They can fly a drone fairly low, so they're getting a very high-res image. It's about 0.5 pixel per millimeter, so it's quite a lot. 0.5 millimeter per pixel, I think, is actually the way it is. In other case, high-res. And they have algorithms that can speciate the plants down to the species level.
So if I'm looking for a resistant weed,
I'm not sure if you're going to find a resistant weed,
well-
but let's say you're looking for a pigweed.
A pigweed.
You'll find the pigweed amongst your corn or your soybeans. You'll find a ragweed amongst your soybeans, and you then, if you fly a grid with a drone, we'll get a heat map of where are my weeds and how dense are they in what locations. Now, you can also get a map that is like a pie chart, a species composition map. Not only that, by growth stage, it can tell 2 to 3 leaf ragweed from 5 to 6 leaf ragweed and report it that way. So I think this is a tremendous advance in shape recognition. It is commercially available right now for a per acre fee. They basically turn that around in approximately 1 day, the flyover map.
And you said it was pretty reasonable.
I'm not a customer, but I've heard that it's single digits per acre. It's a fee, and it depends, I guess, on what information you want, and I'm not sure
What your challenges are. And what
and you may need may need to pay more. I don't know.
Tom, always great to have you on. Always fun to do the spray myths videos with you.
Absolutely.
And as I say, it'll be fascinating to see how this technology takes root on the farm in the years and decades ahead.
You bet.
Awesome.